For the record, Morris Chestnut is not a real doctor. He just plays one on TV. To be precise, Chestnut has played multiple physicians in the last several years, scrubbing in as a trauma specialist in Nurse Jackie, before moving on to pathology in Fox's Rosewood. The last doctor he played, Barrett Kane in Fox the Resident, is a standout. Viewers loathed him. Chestnut loved it. Kane was more concerned about the money a patient would make for the hospital than the patient's health, he said with a mischievous laugh. Fans loved to hate me. They would approach me and say, "You're so mean." I really like that. Chestnut is putting his bad doctor days behind him, taking on a new specialty as a compassionate geneticist and internist in CBS medical drama Watson, a modern reboot of the Sherlock Holmes mythology. He plays Dr. John Watson, Holmes' partner, who becomes the head of an elite rare disorders clinic at a Pittsburgh hospital after Holmes is murdered. Reworking the Watson character means more to Chestnut than just expanding his medical resume. While he has enjoyed a fairly consistent career since his acclaimed debut in 1991's Boys and the Hood, Chestnut has mostly been featured in ensemble or supporting roles, many of them romantic vehicles showcasing his good looks and athletic build. Watson represents his hoped-for ascension into the ranks of leading man. "This is a significant milestone for me in a number of ways," he said. "I'd had lead roles before, but as an actor, I feel I'm hitting my stride in terms of how I approach the work. The opportunity to play this character, and on CBS, is huge. And to play with the Sherlock Holmes mythology is something I never would have imagined." CBS is putting heavy promotional muscle behind Watson. Before its official premiere February 16, the network is launching the drama on January 26 following the NFL playoffs. Given our strong belief in the show, it's only fitting to give Watson a high-profile launch with a powerful lead-in immediately following the AFC Championship football game, which is always one of the most viewed television events of the year, and a proven platform for launching some of our most successful series. Amy Reisenbach, president of CBS Entertainment, said it in an email. She called Chestnut a classic, charming lead star, and his singular take on the iconic doctor is bold, wise, and heroic. The actor maintained that Watson is distinctive from other medical dramas. "We are not just doctors, we are detectives," he said. "When patients come into our clinic, we don't solve the medical mystery right there. We go into their homes, we go into the streets." It's combining the medical aspect of Watson with the influence of Sherlock. Making his way through a healthy breakfast at a Beverly Hills hotel, Chestnut was enthusiastic as he discussed the series. He looked much the same as he did in the first The Best Man feature in 1999, in which his portrayal of a muscular football star solidified his heartthrob status. He credited his appearance to his aggressively healthy lifestyle. "It's a blessing from God. I've never made Hollywood my life. It's just a part of my life. It's a tough place, physically and emotionally. I've seen it eat people and spit them out. I go home and chill after work. I don't go to parties. That stuff can take a toll on your soul, body, and mind." Chestnut, who is also an executive producer of Watson, was immediately excited when first presented with the pilot script from showrunner Craig Sweeney. It was so strong. Had everything: action, emotion, wit. It left you with a cliffhanger to see where things were going to go. After I met with Craig and learned where he wanted to take the show, I knew I had to sign on. Yet he also is uncomfortably aware that not everyone is pleased with a black actor taking on a role that has historically been portrayed by white men. The list of past Watsons include Nigel Bruce, Robert Duvall, Jude Law, John C. Reilly, and Martin Freeman. The move has been already met with gripes on social media, mirroring the criticism that greeted the casting of Hal Bailey in the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, the Star Wars franchise, and other beloved properties that have embraced more cultural diversity. "I'm reluctant to discuss it, particularly in the times we're living in," said Chestnut, his deep voice registering his disappointment. "I've seen some negative comments about me playing this character, and I really don't want to focus on that. I just hope people see the character in the mythology for who he is. I don't want to call attention to that." Still, he acknowledged that his casting would have attracted less attention several years ago, when the Black Lives Matter movement sparked calls for more equity and inclusion in Hollywood. Said Chestnut, it would have been much more seamless, 100%. In these times, people like to point to certain things and bring a negative political spin to it. I'm glad that The Little Mermaid and Wicked are wildly successful. In my whole career, I've never made it about things outside of my work. It is frustrating to have to deal with that. Hopefully, we are all successful. Watson is just one of several new doctor dramas checking into primetime this season. NBC's Brilliant Minds, Fox's Doc, Max the Pit, and ABC's Dr. Odyssey have joined veterans Grey's Anatomy and Chicago Med. Assisting Watson in the clinic is a squad of young, accomplished doctors who are also investigating the rare disorders. Complicating his personal life is his lingering affection for his ex-wife, Dr. Mary Morstan, Rochelle Aites, who is also the hospital's medical director, and Watson is still being targeted by Holmes' nemesis, Moriarty. I'm most energized not only by the evolution of my character, but of the other characters, Chestnut said. The audience is really going to feel for them. The show is exciting and emotional. The series marks the network's second Holmes reboot. Elementary, which starred Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu as the investigative duo, premiered in 2012 and had a solid 7-season run. Sweeney, who was an executive producer on Elementary, said Chestnut was one of the actors he was thinking about when he was writing the pilot for Watson. It was because of his empathy and intelligence. Everybody in the industry has nothing but glowing words for Morris as a person. He is one of the kindest and most respectful people I've ever worked with, as well as a great leader. He was also impressed by a few of the actor's previous portrayals of physicians. Said Sweeney, in writing a medical show, I'm going to task the actor with swimming in an ocean of medical jargon. It takes a commitment. With this show, we're committed to getting the science right with every medical twist and turn. Correct science has a lot of syllables. Morris is as committed to getting it right on his end as we are in the writing. Playing a doctor is very challenging, and playing a doctor in a 1-hour series is even more challenging, Chestnut said. The medical terminology is almost a different language. I have to know what I'm talking about. I can't change the words around like I could in a regular role. The terms and diagnosis have to be accurate and on point. It puts a whole different layer to the performance. It's a challenge he is grateful to take on, particularly at this point in his creative growth. In Boys in the Hood, late director John Singleton's landmark debut about young people living amid the dangers of gang life in South Los Angeles, Chestnut played Ricky Baker, a star high school football star who hopes to go to college with a scholarship. Ricky meets a tragic end when he is gunned down by gang members. Aside from that film launching my career, it has helped me sustain my career, he said. It's not only a great film, but people were rooting for me. People were emotionally connected to the character, but the staying power while I was doing other projects connected people to me. I can't tell you how many people I talked to today who were not alive when the movie was released. The other key highlight is The Best Man, Malcolm D. Lee's romantic comedy about a group of college friends who have a joyous but rocky reunion when two of them decide to marry. That film bucked the trend of black films at the time that focused on turmoil in black areas, focusing on sophisticated, upscale black characters. Chestnut was among the cast members who would move on to major stardom, including Taye Diggs, Terrence Howard, Ned Long, Regina Hall, and Melissa D'Souza. The cast reunited for a sequel, 2013's The Best Man Holiday, and the 2022 Peacock limited series, The Best Man, The Final Chapters. In the franchise, Chestnut played another star football player, Lance Sullivan, who was emotionally distraught in The Best Man Holiday after learning that his wife, Maya, Monica Calhoun, is dying of cancer. Once again, Chestnut said, people were on an emotional journey with me. That also helped me sustain a career. Those films and subsequent projects have positioned him for the spotlight in Watson, he said. I am so honored they thought of me for this, he said. I just wanted the industry to recognize me, to see me and say, I want that guy.